Hello and welcome to the Online Jazz Academy. Today we're going to discuss a very important topic, which is don't play things that are too hard. Now if your goal is to be a professional musician, then obviously that does not apply. You need to play the hardest stuff you can and you need to master it so it becomes easier. Maybe it'll never be easy, but it'll become easier. In this case, for the amateur hobbyist musician, you don't need to necessarily get out your Charlie Parker book and try and play everything out of there. Some of that stuff is just too hard. There's too many changes for you to keep up with. Because when deciding what jazz pieces to play, even more so than what key it's in, which we'll actually talk about later in another video, you need to look at the changes, because the essence of jazz is keeping up with the changes, and on your solos you want to, while still playing freely and expressing yourself, you still need to stick with the changes, because otherwise you can fall into a trap of either just sounding bad or playing what I like to call GJM, which stands for generic jazz music. You have this wonderful head, maybe it's a little hot, and you can't quite keep up with the changes, so you just kind of play whatever comes to mind as in the key that the song is generally in. But jazz has a lot of accidentals in it, which helps bring out the chords, and hitting those chords is what differentiates one song from the next in your soloing. So if you find a song that is really too hard for you to be able to play, just don't play it. Just move on. I mean, there is nothing wrong with playing predominantly modal pieces. Like a lot of Miles Davis tunes from the Kind of Blue era are modal, or they have reasonable changes, because at that point what Miles was trying to do there was sort of tone down the wicked changes that had been so prevalent in bop in the decade or two before that, and sort of come up with heads that allowed for more expressive soloing, where you could play what you want to play and play what comes to mind without having to try and hit some ridiculous accidentals and stuff like that. So if something's too tricky, it's okay to just pull the plug and move on to the next one. You can maybe always come back to it later, but if you have limited time to practice and you don't intend on trying to be the next Wynton Marsalis or Branford Marsalis or what have you, then you don't really need to be playing like the hardest stuff in the book. You can get more out of playing something that's manageable for you and playing it well than you can by just either glossing over or getting bogged down in the changes with something that's too tough for you. One recent example of this was a tune called Peggy's Blue Skylight. It's a Charles Mingus tune. I love Charles Mingus, and he was truly a great virtuoso and jazz composer. But a lot of his stuff falls into that category that may be too hard for many of us out there. We tried to play Peggy's Blue Skylight, for lack of a better word, it crashed and burned. I'll be honest with you. We didn't actually play it at our last show because we never really was able to get off the ground in practice. Like, for one thing is, if you can't play the head perfectly by reading it off the page, just playing it straight up without improvising, you have no business playing the song. And so that's fine. Your choices are either get better or for more immediate gratification, and that's what we're all about here at the Online Jazz Academy, is immediate gratification. Just move on. Just flip the page and see what else is in there. Look for something that's a little more manageable. Like I said earlier, the Miles Davis Kind of Blue era stuff is good. There's books out there of just that stuff. You know, there's lots of good modal pieces. We just started doing a Pharoah Sanders, Leon Thomas tune called "The Creator Has a Master Plan." That one is basically a 2-chord modal thing, and that's more about the feel and about expression than it is about keeping up with these wicked changes. So I'm very excited about playing that one, and I hope to keep playing that and to stick with a lot of the modal stuff. I mean, you don't have to do entirely modal, and again, modal is when it's just 2 chords going, you know, repeating over and over again, typically moving down and then up like a whole step. So you don't have to stick with just that stuff, but don't overextend yourself too much if you're not willing to sit down and practice every day. Just do the best you can with what you got and make that sound the best that you can, and that will help make you and your bandmates and your audience happier for it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. And next time, the horn will be out, and we will get into the nuts and bolts of playing. We'll do we'll look at arpeggios and chromatic scales initially, and then we'll branch out from there. So we hope to see you around for that. Thank you very much, and have a great day.